There are two truths we live with every day. One is the truth we can measure: matter, logic, time, causality. It's the world of science, language, and definition. The other is the truth we feel but cannot hold: presence, stillness, wonder. The invisible dimension that doesn't fit in any textbook. And here's the paradox. Both are real, both are necessary, but they don't play by the same rules. We live in a dualistic world, a world of opposites. Hot and cold, right and wrong, birth and death, subject and object, self and other. But something deeper, quieter, keeps whispering. What if this split is only on the surface? What if the opposites are not truly opposed, but reflections? This episode is not a lecture, it's an invitation. To live with two truths, without needing them to become one. To stop forcing the world to make sense, and start letting it be, contradictory, mysterious, and alive. The mind wants resolution. It aches to choose sides. It says, "Tell me which truth is real." But the soul answers, yes. Yes to paradox. Yes to both, and. Yes to holding light and dark in the same palm. You don't have to kill one truth to make space for the other. You can let them dance. This is the art of non-dual living. Not erasing the divide, but softening into it. Most of us grow up with a bias toward the measurable. We trust what we can name. We idolize certainty. But the most meaningful parts of life, love, grief, awe, presence, can't be pinned down. They don't sit still for observation. Try to explain them, and they disappear. Try to measure them, and you miss them. But when you live them, fully, nakedly, they reveal everything. The paradox? Truth isn't something you find, it's something you stop resisting. And sometimes that means allowing contradiction to breathe, allowing the wave and the particle, the self and the no-self, the path and the letting go of paths. Not everything has to be solved. Some things want only to be witnessed. You are the meeting point between two truths, the world that can be described and the one that sings behind your eyes. And the more you try to collapse one into the other, the more distant they become. But the moment you relax into their coexistence, a third thing is born: presence. Presence doesn't need an argument. It doesn't require evidence or explanation. It just is. And the moment you notice it, really notice, it's like the whole world exhales. You're not thinking about life. You're in it. You're not narrating your experience. You've become the experience. This is the silence between two truths, the stillness that isn't stuck, just spacious. And in that space, something sacred begins to happen. You stop needing to resolve the paradox. You start learning how to live inside it. The ancient sages knew this. Taoism teaches us to walk the way by not clinging to opposites, to let light and shadow define one another, and to trust that contradiction is part of harmony. Zen offers koans, paradoxical riddles, not to confuse you, but to break the mind's addiction to logic. The mind wants control. But the truth? The deepest truths aren't given to the mind. They belong to the heart, to the breath, to the moment before words arrive. Non-dual awareness is not about denying the world. It's about seeing the world as a wave on the ocean of being. Yes, you are a body. Yes, you are a story. But also, yes, you are something nameless, prior to form, untouched by time. When you argue with duality, you lose. When you rest inside it, you expand. The two truths are not enemies. They are lovers speaking different languages. One says, "You are this." The other says, "You are all of it." One builds maps, the other burns them. And in the ashes of certainty, you find a strange kind of peace. Not because you understand everything, but because you no longer need to. This is the birth of paradoxical wisdom. The ability to hold two truths in the same breath, and trust the silence between them more than either alone. In the West, we often try to solve paradox by collapsing it. We want right answers. We crave closure. We ask, is it this or that? But in the deepest dimensions of consciousness, truth is not binary. It's spacious. It flows. It includes the opposite of itself. And when you stop resisting this fluidity, You begin to awaken to something timeless. You see that reality is layered, like music. There's the melody of logic and the harmony of mystery, and together they create a song too vast for the mind to sing alone. You are not here to dissect the song. You are here to dance to it, not to divide truth into categories, but to let it move through you. So when the world gives you choices, this or that, true or false, right or wrong, you can pause, smile, and say, both, and neither, and more. There's a secret softness that begins to emerge. When you stop clinging to one side of a truth, when you no longer feel the need to prove, defend, or define yourself in absolutes, you start to live from something quieter and far more free. This isn't apathy. This is awakened neutrality. It's the space where you can hold opposing emotions, grief and gratitude, joy and longing, and know that neither cancels the other. You become a vessel for contradiction, without needing contradiction to make sense. And paradox, rather than being a problem to solve, becomes a path to walk. It's no longer, am I this or that? It's, what does it feel like to be both? And eventually, what does it feel like to be neither? In a dual world, we are trained to pick sides. Left or right, science or spirit, masculine or feminine, success or surrender. But the soul does not speak in binaries. It speaks in silence. It speaks in simultaneity. You can be strong and gentle. You can be skeptical and spiritual. You can be vast and local, empty and full, forgotten and eternal. When you stop forcing life into labels, you begin to feel the unnameable nature of being, and that's where the real peace begins. Because the war inside us, the war between what we feel and what we're told is real, starts to dissolve. You begin to trust the mystery. You begin to let experience be just that, experience, not a thesis, not a brand, not a position to defend, just the ongoing unfolding of presence through the form of you. And here's the thing most people miss. The more comfortable you become with paradox, the more compassion you feel toward others. Why? Because you stop needing them to be just one thing. You stop reducing them to their beliefs, mistakes, identities. You see their duality, and you recognize your own. They too are light and shadow. They too are holy contradictions. When you live from a non-dual heart, you no longer need to divide the world into us and them. You understand that every human is a paradox in motion, and that understanding, that's the root of true connection, not agreement, not sameness, but shared mystery. The paradox of relationship is that we are both separate and one. The paradox of love is that it reveals the self and dissolves it. And the paradox of awakening? It's that there's nowhere to go. And yet everything becomes more alive than ever. You stop searching for the truth like it's a final destination. You start letting truth meet you in every moment, changing shape, changing tone, but always pointing back to the same silent source. And this is where something beautiful happens. You stop asking life to be either or, and you start letting it be life. Wild, inconsistent, messy, divine, unresolvable, and completely whole. The real gift of non-dual living is not that you suddenly understand everything, it's that you no longer need to. You don't need to collapse mystery into logic. You don't need to force your life into a neat arc. You don't even need to answer the question, who am I? Because the deeper you go, the more you realize, the question is the answer. There's a kind of wisdom that comes from staying open, not rushing to resolution, not sprinting toward the next certainty, but allowing space, allowing contradiction, allowing the raw, trembling reality of being alive. This is the quiet paradox of it all, that freedom doesn't come from clarity, it comes from presence. It's not about finding one truth to rule them all. It's about finding a way to live with all of them pulsing through you, like breath, like wind, like tide. When you live from paradox, you don't become passive. You become patient. You become precise in your presence. You start listening with your whole body. And you discover that paradox isn't a flaw in the system. It's the very signature of reality. Light behaves like both wave and particle. Time moves forward, yet only the present is real. You are a single identity, yet made of trillions of changing cells and thoughts. Truth doesn't contradict itself. It contains itself, just like you do. You are not one truth. You are the vessel that holds them all. And when you stop needing them to match, you begin to feel peace. Not the peace of resolution, but the peace of release. You no longer need to understand every corner of your life. You only need to be in it, fully. The bird outside your window doesn't need a reason to sing. The sun doesn't ask the moon to choose sides. The ocean doesn't explain its waves. So why do we? Why not let your life be a mystery you participate in, rather than a puzzle you're trying to solve? Why not let the mind keep its logic while the soul keeps its song? Why not say yes to both truths? You are temporary and eternal. A ripple and the sea. A moment, and the presence holding the moment. This is not a contradiction. It's a symphony. And you are not here to silence it. You are here to listen. So don't be afraid to live inside the tension. Don't be afraid to hold joy and sorrow in the same breath. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know, and smile. Because the moment you do, you're not lost in the paradox. You become it. And that perhaps is the most honest way to be whole. Next time on the Quiet Paradox series, we explore the paradox of choice. Freedom expands, meaning thins. Where is enough? Until then, stay curious, stay conscious. If this stirred something inside you, subscribe, like, and share this with a fellow seeker.